Welcome to Undisputed, live from Los Angeles. I'm Alex Curry, here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning, guys. How we doing this morning?
Good morning, Alex. How you doing this morning? Hey, Skip.
Man, this 2020 just will not leave us be. There's never anything like 2020.
Nothing.
Another day, another incredible story.
Hopefully there'll never be anything else like 2020.
I am with you. Boom.
And with that being said, we are getting today started with Eagles wide receiver DeSean Jackson. The three-time Pro Bowler is facing criticism after sharing an anti-Semitic quote that was attributed to Adolf Hitler. Jackson also shared admiration for Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan. Now, Jackson has since said people took his post the wrong way and has no hatred in his heart towards anyone. The Eagles released a statement that in part said the posts were, quote, offensive, harmful, and absolutely appalling. So, Shannon, what do you make of this?
Skip, I had a conversation with D-Jack last night. And when I put a message out to him, he returned my call, and I said, bro, I need to know what you were thinking. He said, it didn't come out the way I wanted it to. I said, well, what were your point you're trying to make? He said, the point I was trying to make, Sharpe, was that if blacks were to put their money together, if we did black banks and black businesses, we have more power than we realize. And he said, if you look at the movement right now, it's showing that when we come together, we are a major force. I said, D-Jack, how did you expect somebody to understand that from what you posted? I said, it was taken out of context. I said, D-Jack, it wasn't taken out of context. You didn't provide context. I said, you can't expect the reader to provide context with something that you're retweeting. I said, you retweet that, you're co-signing it. I said, moving forward, the number one thing, if you quote Adolf Hitler, is wrong. So anything else that comes after that, nobody hears it because you just said Hitler and you're trying to portray him in a positive light. I said, you have to provide context. I said, you watch Skip and I regularly. How I know Skip, because I talked to when the Super Bowl was in Atlanta, he and I had a conversation. And I said, Skip and I, we joke a lot, but we try to provide context. I said, we're talking about the Confederate and Confederate monuments. I said, in the context that I used, I said, you don't see them putting up statues in Germany of Hitler. Now, I have to provide context because I'm talking about the Confederate monuments in the U.S. I said, if I just said they're not putting up statues in Germany of Hitler, someone's going to say, well, Shannon said they should have statues of Germany, of Hitler up in Germany. But I'm providing context saying you don't because of what happened. So that's what I'm doing. I said, D-Jack, I said, bro, you don't understand. I said, first of all, there's another problem that you have. I said, on Twitter, you only have 280 characters. I said, what you're trying to point out is more than 280 characters. That's something you're going to have to verbalize. You can't write it. Because there are a lot of times, D-Jack, I want to say things, but it's way more than 280 characters. And it's going to be taken like the way you're meaning it and the way somebody else reads it is two different things. I said, but you provided no context. And he thought about it. He said, you're right. He said, I didn't. He said, but what I thought, I said, D-Jack, in 2020, we're hypersensitive. I said, you got to have context to what you're trying to say. I said, now, you put this out there. I said, people are upset, and rightfully so. I said, you have been, and he said, Sharpe, I ain't got no heart no hate in my heart for anybody. Jewish people, white people, and nobody. I said, but you have to understand. I say, you're very prominent on social media. Your Black Lives Matter, and you're preaching, and you're protesting. I said, you have to understand, D-Jack, there are a lot of people that's skeptical of the movement, and they will do anything they possibly can to discredit you. Don't you discredit yourself by tweeting this. If we're all in this one love, we love everybody, we want everybody to be treated equal, you have to be mindful of what you're disseminating on your social media. You have to be careful of what you're saying. I said, that's it. I said, you need to provide context. But even with context, let him be. There's nothing good can come of that. And that just goes to show, and I think this is a learning lesson from him. Skip, I really do believe he was trying to say, blacks, we're powerful. Even Killer Mike says we have $1 trillion in spending capital. If we were to spend in our communities, they would listen more. But because our dollar is spent so many different places, they don't value our voices. They don't value our ideas. Kind of like what I don't even know. I don't even think the quote was really attributed to Hitler. Somehow it got tagged to him. But Skip, he, without seeing him, I believe because Skip, his owner, Mr. Lurie, is Jewish. Howie Roseman, the general manager, is Jewish.
Yep.
And he's like, Sharpe, Howie brought me back. Mr. Lurie brought me back. I got no hatred towards them. What I said, I didn't, as you mentioned, I didn't provide proper context, and I didn't properly express what I was trying to say. And he said, I'm sorry for that. He said, I apologize, and if I need to apologize again, I will. He said, but I was wrong for disseminating that without providing, as you used the term, context. And so, Skip, that's how we left it. I said, bro, just be careful. Just be mindful. When you retweet something, you co-signed it. You saying, I agree with what's being said in this statement without providing context. I say context is everything. That's why President Trump caught so much flack for retweeting what they said, that white power, because basically you co-signed it.
Correct.
You got to provide context, Skip, especially in a time like this, because people, they're canceling people, and we know what that means. So, D-Jack, be careful.
Okay, I appreciate you reached out. I appreciate he reached back.
Yep.
I've spent some time around DeSean Jackson. I've had a couple of good conversations with DeSean Jackson over the years.
Yep.
So I feel like I have some feel for him, maybe not the feel that you have for him. I believe he was contrite in his apologies, which went on all day long yesterday. I appreciate that. So I look back at the DeSean Jackson I've known, and he's been around. He's a sharp young man. He's now 33 years of age.
Correct.
He's entering his 13th season in National Football League. So he's not first year, second year, even third year.
No.
He's 13th year. He's out of Long Beach Poly, not too far from where we sit.
Correct.
He matriculated at a school called the University of California at Berkeley.
Yep.
It is one of the most distinguished institutions of higher learning that you can find in this land.
Yes.
And I have always appreciated that about DeSean. So given all that, it's hard for me to give him the naive pass on this. And we haven't gotten to Louis Farrakhan yet, but I'm about to.
Okay.
So given that he posted about Farrakhan on Saturday and Monday, and then this came, the triple impact of that, the triple anti-Semitic impact of all three posts, leave me no other option but to say that I believe that DeSean, as much as I do like him and believe in him, I believe he needs to be suspended for one game, just one game, to send a message to the rest of the National Football League that under no circumstance, no matter how much you apologize, will this be tolerated. Shannon, these players are lectured constantly on the dangers of social media. Back to my days at ESPN, Coach Herman Edwards, don't hit send, just don't hit send.
Right.
It's so dangerous that they are told it can get you suspended or it can get you fired.
Right, absolutely.
We know this, you know it, and I know it, and I appreciate what you brought up. I know where I have gotten to a point over the last month or so. Any topic involving race, racism, especially on Twitter, in, what is it, 280 characters?
280
It used to be 140.
40, correct.
That was really bad.
Exactly.
Now it's 280. Even 280, you cannot do it justice.
You can't.
You cannot express yourself to the depth and the degree of context that you need to when you're dealing with those kind of issues.
Right.
They defy Twitter. You can't do it on Twitter. So I find myself night after night saying, no, just don't, just leave, because I know I'm going to get to talk to you every morning. We're going to do it for 2.5 hours.
Right.
And we have room to roam here. We have time, depth, we have the breadth here at this desk
Right.
that we can really get to the bottom of these topics.
Right.
So let's quickly hit on the Farrakhan topic. No matter what you think of Louis Farrakhan, Nation of Islam, he has made it pretty clear over the years he does not like Jewish people. Is that fair to say?
Well, not from the conversation that I've had with the minister. He said it's abundantly. He's made it clear to anybody that sat down with him. He says he doesn't. So
okay, I got that, and I've read that. But the Anti-Defamation League has identified him as anti-Semitic.
Okay.
And last night, just to refresh my memory on this, I went back and read a lot of his quotes. They read hateful against Jewish people. And I know at first, as Obama was running for president, he supported Obama. Obama did not love it in sort of arm's length and kept a distance from him. And then once Obama got elected, one of his early decisions, Louis Farrakhan criticized him as the first Jewish president. And then the minister